Hello, welcome back to our classroom. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to factorize an algebraic expression by grouping. To apply the technique of factorization by grouping, we need to have four terms. And once we have our four terms, we group those four terms in groups of two and look at those terms to see what they have in common. We factor out those things that are in common, and at the end of it, we group our factors in one bracket, and given that the other two brackets are the same, we write that other bracket. This is easier said by showing you an actual example of how it works. So let's go right into how it works. Here's a question that says we are to factorize completely the expression a squared minus ab minus ac plus bc. This one is nice and organized already, so we'll just put them in groups as they are. Notice this first term is a squared, and this second term has an a, so they have an a in common. This third term, AC, and the fourth term, BC, have C in common. So we can group those two together and group these two together. Let's do that. First, I'm going to write it over. So A squared minus AB minus AC plus BC. These two are grouped together, and those two are grouped together. Now, what is common to this bracket? We look for the highest common factor. And if you're not familiar with the highest common factor, you probably should go watch the video on how to factorize using the highest common factor. Then do this video. So our highest common factor here is A. We are now going to divide our bracket by the A. So A squared divided by A gives us A, and minus AB divided by A gives us B. In this bracket, we notice that the C is common. So we're going to write our C. Notice also that this first term is negative, and this factor will take the sign of the first term. So we write minus C. We now divide. Negative AC divided by negative C gives us a positive A, and a positive BC divided by a negative C gives us a negative B. Once you're finished with this step, you look at your brackets. Notice here that these two brackets are exactly the same. This is a check on your answer. If you have done the question correctly, you have done the division correctly, and you've written them down, and you find that your brackets are not the same, then something else is wrong with it. We may come to that later on. But for now, our brackets are the same, and what we do to finish our answer is to write our outside factors, which are A and minus C. We write them in a bracket by themselves, so our answer goes like this: A minus C, and then we write back the other bracket, A minus B. And this is our answer to the question, factorize completely, A squared minus AB minus AC plus BC. If you wanted to prove your answer, then you could apply bracket multiplication to this answer and obtain your question just to show. I'm going to do it now, just to show that the answer is correct. So I'm going to take this A, multiply that bracket, and take this minus C and multiply this bracket. Notice that when you multiply A by A, you get A squared, and A by minus B gives you a minus AB. When you multiply a minus C times A, you get a minus AC, or minus CA. And here, minus C times a minus B gives you a plus CB, or BC. Notice that this expression here is exactly the same as your question, which is proof that your answer here is correct. You will not necessarily need to prove that your answer is correct, but just in case you wanted to, it is done here to show you that the technique works. Let's try it on this question. So here we have a 3x and a minus 8y. We have a minus 4xy and a plus 6. These two have nothing in common. These two could have, you could divide the negative 4 by 2 and the 6 by 2. but we need the first two to have something in common. So let's rearrange the question so that they have something in common. So I'm going to group the 3x with the minus 4xy. And I'm going to group the minus 8y with the 6. Now, for this group, the common factor here would be x. So I'll take out the x. I'm going to divide 3x by x. That gives us 3. I'm going to divide the minus 4xy by x, and that gives us minus 4y. Here, these two can be divided by 2. We use a negative 2 because this first factor is negative. So we write our negative 2, and negative 8y divided by negative 2 gives us a positive 4y. Also, 6 divided by negative 2 gives us a positive 3, a negative 3. And now we check our brackets. Checking our brackets, we realize that the brackets are different. They're actually, one is turned around. We have 3 minus 4y, and then we have 4y minus 3. This resulted because of how the question was rearranged here. There are two ways to fix this. You can either go back and rearrange the question, or you can simply change the signs of these terms that are here. So the short fix is to say x into 3 minus 4y and change the sign of everything here. So this negative 2 becomes a positive 2. This positive 4y becomes a negative 4y. And this negative 3 becomes a positive 3. And now you will see that the two brackets will be the same. 3 minus 4y, 3 minus 4y. And so you can now write your answer as x plus 2 or, and rather, 3 minus 4y. If you wanted to, you could go back and reorganize the question. So let's go back and reorganize the question. Let us put the 3x, I'll write it down here for a little more space. Let us put the 3x with the 6 and put the minus 8y with the minus 4y, minus 4xy. So these two together and these two together. In this case, we put these two together here. We can divide both by 3. So we take out our 3 and we get x plus 2. And in this bracket, we can use a minus 4y, in which case a negative 4y into a negative 8y gives us 2, and a negative 4y into a negative 4xy gives us a positive x. Notice now that your two brackets are the same, x plus 2 and 2 plus x, which is the same thing as x plus 2. So you can write your answer as 3 minus 4y and x plus 2. So if you run into this kind of situation where after you're finished with your division, that your brackets are reversed in terms of sign, 3 minus 4y, 4y minus 3, then you can simply, with the second bracket, change the signs of everything. So this was a negative 2, we change it to positive 2. This is a positive 4, we change it to negative 4. And this is a negative 3, so we change it to positive 3. And that solves the problem entirely, without having to rewrite the question and doing it over. However, if you do want to do it over, then go ahead and reorganize the question in a different way, such as this, and proceed with a solution. Let's look at 2 more examples. In this question, we have 3a plus at minus 6b minus 2pt. And this one looks nice and ready, so we'll just go ahead and work it out. So we put these two together, and we put those two together. The common factor here is a, So we factor out our a. We divide 3a divided by a gives us a 3. And at divided by a gives us a t. So we have 3 plus t. For this bracket, we can divide by minus 2p. So minus 6p, which is this, divided by minus 2p. P's cancel. 2 into 6 goes 3. Negatives cancel out. Gives us a positive 3. And minus 2pt divided by negative 2p. These two cancel out. The p's cancel out. And we're left with t. So we have plus t. And our answer now becomes, writing the outside factors in one bracket, a minus 2p and 3 plus t. Let's go to this one. Here, again, these two have something in common. We can divide the 6 by 3, we can divide the 9 by 3. They also have x in common. And these two also have something in common. We can divide by 2 for the 4 and the 6, and they also have y in common. So let us write down our factor. Our factor here would be 3x. We open our bracket, and we take our 6nx, and we divide it by 3x. The x cancels. 3 into 6 goes 2 times, so we have 2n. We take our 9, or minus 9mx, and we divide it by 3x. The x cancels. 3 to 9 goes 3 times, and what we're left with is a minus 3m. For the second bracket, our factor is negative 2y. Remember, it's negative because this term here is negative. We are now going to divide our minus 4ny divided by minus 2y. The negatives cancel out, the y's cancel out. 2 into 4 goes 2, and so we have 2n. Again, we take our 6my, and we're going to divide it by a negative 2y. So the y's cancel out. 2 into 6 goes 3, and we're left with a negative 3m. Notice again that your brackets are exactly the same, which is what you want. Now we take our outside numbers, our outside factors, which are this and this, and we write them together in one bracket. 3x, take away 2y, and we write back the other bracket. And that is your answer. Your question has been factorized. Now we made a point about 4 things, 4 terms in the question. Notice that all of these questions have 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to factorize by grouping, you necessarily need your question to have 4 terms. Let's look at our last examples. In this question, we're looking at 3g minus 3t plus 2mg minus 2mt. Again, these two have something in common. 3g minus 3t plus 2mg minus 2mt. These two have 3 in common, and these two have 2m in common. So we can factor out our 3 here. And 3g divided by 3 gives us g, minus 3t divided by 3 gives us t. To this question, our common factor is 2m. And remember, we mean highest common factor. Dividing our 2mg by 2m, we notice that we get g. And dividing our 2mt by 2m, we get a minus t. Notice again, our brackets are exactly the same. So we write our outside factors, 3 plus 2m, in one bracket, and write our second bracket, g minus t, and we are finished. And in this question, we have 6ap plus 15a minus 4p minus 10. We can divide here by 3a, since 6 and 15 can be divided by 3, and also a is common to both. So we group these two together and group these two together. Our common factor is 3a. So we write our 3a, we open our bracket. So we have 6ap divided by 3a. The a's cancel. 3 into 6 goes 2 times. 2p is what we have left. And 15a divided by 3a. 3 into 15 is 5. We end up with a 5. Here, our common factor is going to be just minus 2 because there's no p attached to the 10. The only thing we can divide by is 2 for the 4 and the 10. But we use a negative 2 because this first factor here, this first term here in the bracket is negative. All right, having done that, we have negative 4p divided by negative 2 gives us a positive 2p. And we have a negative 10 divided by a negative 2, which gives us a positive 5. So our answer becomes, putting these together, our answer becomes 3a minus 2 and 2p plus 5. This is how we factorize by grouping. I hope you would have learned the technique. Now go ahead and find a lot of questions and practice so that you can improve both your speed and your skills and your